Welcome back to the Corvette build, and it's an exciting day because today we're going to try to make this thing safe. Safety isn't exactly exciting, but it's going to look cool. I want to make this thing safe enough for my son to get in. He's 6, so there's going to have to be a few precautions. A few of those precautions is this roll bar, and then we'll have a seat belt bar that goes across for 4-point harnesses. We're going to keep these Z06 seats. They'll work fine with a 4-point harness. They're pretty narrow. Maybe a little bit of a challenge on him with him being a smaller person, but we'll make it work. If I have to get a different style seat, I will. The good thing is the cage that I bought came with enough pieces to make down bars coming down the backside too. That will connect somewhere in here. And I'd hope to make it really easy, but it just isn't going to work out. I'll show you what I mean. So I just went and picked up this roll cage from, I don't know what it's from, a 4-door Polaris or a 2-door Polaris or some sort of Polaris. I don't know. I think it's going to give me what I need to cut up and make a roll bar, 4-point bars for this thing. Dimensions seem to be pretty similar. Obviously that's going to be a lot taller. It's going to have to be cut down a lot. Now you might say to yourself, how in the world can I go and afford, if I'm building a cheap Vette Kart, an entire roll cage? Hey, $100. These things are all over. These stock cages, if this works, is all over the place on Facebook because no one keeps a stock cage on a serious side-by-side. All right, I have the cage all pulled apart. Now I gotta figure out which part I need to cut up. What would both be the B pillar and the C pillar on the cage are obviously too tall for the Corvette. Corvette needs about 17 inches. These pillars are much higher, much taller than that. I've cut it into several pieces to see what's gonna work the best. There was a A pillar, B pillar, and C pillar, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's what's left of the C pillar back there. I don't remember which ones I cut. I think this is the B pillar. Honestly, I don't remember. Maybe that's the windshield. Yeah, that's the windshield right there. So that's the A pillar. B pillar's here. And I've already cut the top off of it. That's the top of it over there. And then the C pillar had down bars that bolted on, and that's what I've used. I wanted to use that pillar because those standoffs for the down bars where they could bolt on would have worked great. The standoff would have came straight back, and the down bars would have, with the bend in them, you can kind of see that one right there, would have laid down right where they needed to be. Problem is, it's just too wide. At the top of this one, I couldn't get it tucked up in there. I would have had to put it behind here, and I wasn't opposed to that, but then that would have put the down bars way back here somewhere. I'm just going to have to weld the down bars in myself, but this is going to allow, the way I've got it now, to tuck up real nice and tight. There's going to be a 1/4 inch plate down here, so raise that up another 1/4 inch, and it'll almost be touching. And I've got a decision to make. Do I make the standoff have the elbow up here? Y'all tell me what you think. Does the elbow go at the top, or do I put the bend on the back and have it like that? This is the way I'm leaning. To make this happen, I'll have to cut these standoffs off the end and then notch it. And another thing we've done is put this air pump relocation kit, or whatever it's called, delete bracket on here, and a new alternator. I broke the other alternator, my fault. But that will allow us to run a serpentine belt. I think a 71 is going to work. 71-inch serpentine belt with no AC, and still maintain the stock tensioner. All right, well, let me get some CAD out and see what type of shape of a plate I need to make for where these things are going to go in at. So after about 20 minutes of CAD work, I think I've rendered a design that will work. So I will make a 1/4 inch plate that size, but I'll weld that in there. Another one in over there. It should go in and out pretty easily. All right, guys, all I'm going to do here is I've got the two pieces mated together there. They're mirror images of each other, so it's the same exact shape. So I've matched them up exactly, and I'm just going to grind down the edges to round them off. I'm going to make sure they're exact, that both of them are the exact same piece. And that's just going to be flap attacking it. And I wound up going with 3/16. I didn't have a 1/4 inch plate. Either way, it'll be fine. Glasses for safety. There's some seam glue or whatever it is holding some of this stuff in. A nice chisel. Well, no, let me take that back. A piece of crap Harbor Freight chisel, the cheapest one you can buy that you don't mind abusing, and a hammer will take care of most of it. It's just glue, really. And you can't just grind it off, but there is probably some fiber still down there, and I just hate throwing that fiber dust in the air. All right, that's where she'll go. I'll grind off the paint. I'm just going to underlip that bead right there and run it down through there. Well, I may grind a little more off, get that flush. There'll be a natural chamfer there, or whatever you want to call it. First, I want to see where the bar lies on that thing, though. Ow! Jesus. Okay. So that's pretty good. Probably like for it to snug a little closer, but it is what it is. But that's going to land perfectly where it needs to go. And that should be plenty of space. I thought about bringing this all the way out, but there's an overlap. There's a seam right here of two pieces of metal on top of each other, and there would be a gap there. I could fill it in, it'd been fine. But it's not, I don't think it would add as much strength as I need to worry about. All right, I'm gonna start marking on this to make sure that it's even across. Gotta get the bottom flaps. Looks like it should come down about probably 1/8 of an inch to get that bottom flat. If I didn't cut it exactly flat. And once I get this mounted, well, once I get this built, I hope we're on our way. Well, guys, buying this RZR frame, I think, was a wise decision because this is going to work out. I've changed it up a little bit. I wound up using the A pillar. I think that's the A pillar. I don't know. Might be the C pillar. Either way, the other pillar I wasn't using, I wound up cutting it and using the bends and the down bars on it. And they fit a little bit better. And they have these provisions for a crossbar, which has this cool little shroud on it. And I'm going to section this and shorten it a little bit, and it will fit. So I'll have like a wing shroud back here, which will be pretty cool. I can take on and off if I want to. So, like a Native American killing a buffalo here, I'm going to use every piece I possibly can. And as a bonus, these bars fit the body lines pretty well. All right, let's try to get this side welded in, and I can match this side. I'm less concerned about having them where they're at as much as I am about having them perfectly the same. But they've got to be coming off that B pillar perfectly. We'll be back at it in the morning. The cage is welded in. Well, it's not welded into the car. It's welded together. I still don't have the harness bar welded in, but it is over there getting ground on, so I can fit it in there, and we'll pull all this back out to weld it. The uprights and the trailing arms, whatever you want to call them, they are finish welded into each other, not welded into the frame yet. So tomorrow, the plan is knock out the harness bar and then weld this thing into the car and then shorten the crossbar that would go right here so that it'll fit now because those bars were a little bit narrower than they were on the RZR. I've got an O2 bung and an O2 sensor to put in on those Headman headers, so we'll do that tomorrow as well. And my belt should be here, so we should be able to hook up the new alternator and get all that sorted so that the water pump's pumping so that we can try to burp the system so that I can see if my temp sensor I put in, my mechanical or manual temp sensor down there that I put in works. All right, see y'all in the morning.
6.5 hours later.
Back up and at 'em early this morning. We're going to try to get this harness bar ground down. I'll go ahead and pull this bar back out. It's going to be easier to weld outside of the car. We'll get that welded in, and once that's welded in, the cage will be ready to be fully welded in, and I can mark that off the list. The one thing I will have to do is drop the sway bar, because when I weld those in, it will melt the rubber boots or the rubber bushings. So I definitely want to drop that, get the rubber bushings out of the way before I weld that in. Let's get to going, see what happens. Well, we're done with the welding outside of the vehicle. This thing has gotten heavy, so I've got to struggle busting my way to get it back in here. Let's see if I can. I got to drop this down a little bit. This lift is just a godsend. Oh, Jesus. Hopefully, I don't have to take the fuel cell out. I may have to. If I can get one side in, then it'll go. I don't know. Damn it. It's not bolted in. All right. I think that might have given me enough. Yeah. Whew. This thing ain't light. Oh my gosh. All right. All right.
All right, all right, all right.
See what that looks like. It's pretty sharp. Oh yeah. That's going to be nice. Let's see it with the seat back all the way back, see what kind of spacing I have. A little bit concerned about the spacing. I don't have racing seats, so there's no pass-through for the 4-point harness. Oh no, that's going to be, you know what? The only problem I have, this seat's real close to this bar over on this side. And the challenge with that is, depending on the style harness I wind up getting, I have some harnesses, some real cheap harnesses I had for a go-kart or something. And I was going to put them in here just for mock-up. But I don't know if I'm going to go with a tabbed harness or a wraparound harness. I like the wraparound harnesses, but with a wraparound harness, this bend right here might be too close to the seat. Either way, I'm digging the clearance. There isn't enough. I wonder if my head will hit. Obviously, this isn't a race car, and I will not be racing it. This is just going to be for cruising around. So I don't have to worry about a helmet. My head sticks up higher than the roof line anyway. This thing's definitely not going to save me in an accident. Ooh, my head will hit that right there. That nub's going to have to be ground down or ground out. Yeah, that bar is just in the way of my head. If I get in a wreck, I'm going to debrain myself. Well, I'll just have to pull the seat up just slightly and ride like this, which is fine. Yeah, I have room then for my head to go back. So one notch up on the seat. Prefer to be all the way back because at 6'4", you need all the leg room you can get, but all the way back, I'm going to hit my head on that. Roll bar padding. Got to go the route of the Jeep. Get some roll bar padding. But let's get it out. Let's grind those little nubs off. So y'all remember just a few minutes ago when I said, hey, I got to take that sway bar down to keep from setting those bushings on fire. Yeah, it didn't happen. That one caught on fire. It's the worst possible smell I've ever smelled in my impossible life. Where are y'all on that one? Sleep at the wheel. Well, it's pulled down now. Let's get to cranking. I've got the front tacked in. Gotta get the back tacked in. Now I'll go back and finish the front. I just don't want the cage to warp at all. Between seam sealer and fiberglass and rubber bushings, the smells in here are intoxicating. Not in a good intoxication. More in like I'm gonna be very sick later. But either way, they're intoxicating. hot. Blow through. Hey, if you like big wads of bird shit, then you're gonna love this. Smoky. Where that angle came down and the metal was real thin, where it came to a point, started blowing through. I'm not going that hot. I mean, I'm going hot enough to burn it in, but I'm not going super hot. Of course, it's not very thick metal. I think that's 8th, probably 120 wall, whatever that is. But hey, I'm done welding for right now because I'm tired of welding. So this razor came with this back piece, and I'll show you what I want to do. I want to put this crossbar on there, but it's too long now. And the razor went in at the top with these down bars, and so there's also an angle that's off. So that's 3 inches. This is now 3 inches too wide. So I went, found the center. I'm going 1 inch and 5/8 off to each side. I'm sorry, 3 1/4 inches too wide. So I'm going 1 inch and 5/8 off from each side to cut that 3 1/4 off. And the idea is I can remove that, and put it back on. It'll have a little ducktail back here. I think it's going to be cool. Now, the reason I want it removable is because I use my turbo kinker to bend up another one of the down bars. That the plan is to bolt in the stock location up here, and it will also have a tail sitting back. I'm going to build a cooler rack off of. And it's just, I mean, it's barely going to fit. It really isn't going to fit, but I'll make it fit. I'll bend this a little bit right here if I have to. So I still got to kink up another one of these. I need to go ahead and cut this out and re-weld it. All right, let me go cut this. It's a bandsaw job, it looks like, because I'm terrible with the slice and dice. I've been invaded. I don't know if y'all can see that. Whoa. But there are hummingbirds. There's like 5 of them in here right now. I hope they find their way out. Let me open up all the doors so they can find their way out. Man, that turned out good. So that bar, let me show you. That bar, it wasn't perfect, but it's close. I'm gonna have to run some sort of bolt in here to hold it, but this kind of pops off. Well, and so there is this very small gap. I think a washer will take that up on both sides. And of course it just looks like a tube again. The only problem is, just dumb luck, this vent for my fuel cell, I could probably just put a plug or something. It's just a vent, but I'll need a low profile cap at the minimum. The regular cap sticks up too high and hits that. So I can't really move that forward because of the way I've already put the mounts in. I can't really drop it any because of the way the front mount is going over some brake lines. So we'll make do. It'll be fine. But this goes on real nice. Boop, boop, and cool. I'm going to get the sway bar pulled back up because those are at least welded in. And then we're going to crank this bad right up because 71-inch belt came in. And I think I should have got 70. Once this belt stretches, it's definitely going to be a little bit too big because I can definitely push way too much down on that. For right now, it will definitely turn this water pump and all the other pumps too. First, let's get some antifreeze in it. And yes, I just dropped my antifreeze and knocked a tiny hole right in the bottom. So, weird. Let's see if I can figure out how in the hell am I going to open this? This is a recipe for disaster. What the hell's going on here? Am I just going to have to let a lot of this leak out? It's exciting. First time coolant's gone in since we tore it down. Okay, can I tilt it just far enough to open the cap? This is about to get all over me, isn't it? We'll have to figure out an overflow tank for it. All right, this is scary. This is scarier than the first time I cranked it up because at least the first time I didn't expect it to do anything. Now I expect it to actually run, and that's a challenge. We put enough work in it now to where if something happens, I'll be sad. All right, I don't think anything's touching. The O2 sensor's hooked up. Let me go get the keys. Geez, I don't think there's any gas left in it. There might be like a half a pint here. Oh, not even that. There we go. That should be enough. Come on. Come on. Oh, yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Losing a bunch of fuel. Where's it coming from? Oh, the return. Ah, I forgot to put the return back on because I undid it. Boy, I'm not very smart. Man, I wasn't high before, which I guess there's no real reason for me to have been high before. But I am now. All right, contact. Ooh, man. I have ingested all the chemicals today. I don't think thermostat ever opened. I may have to replace the thermostat. I should have while I was in there. Before I crank her up for, well, I hope one of the final times before I pull her out and actually drive around the yard, I do want to go ahead and put some kind of bumper on it. And I found out, number two, through this build, I've reinforced why I never throw anything away, at least from a hard part standpoint, much to my wife's disappointment. But the second biggest thing I found out is the frame rails on a Jeep TJ and a Chevrolet Corvette are really, really similar. So I have this old TJ bumper that's been leaning up against a tree over at the lake for, I don't know, it's got to be 4 or 5 years. I think I found this in a scrap pile of Jeep parts. If you don't know, if you haven't seen my other videos, I'm kind of a Jeep guy. No ducks around, but I do like Jeeps, and I've got several of them. And so I've got a bunch of old parts, and I never throw them away. And my wife's like, why don't you get rid of that? I'm like, well, I might need it someday. And why would you ever need a stock TJ bumper? Well, now you know. Put on your Corvette. And then I am going to cut the ends off and make it just the width of the frame rail. All right, I got me a good line marked off here. That's going to be my length or my width. And so I'll just duplicate that on the other side after I get this side cut. It's going to be a rough cut. I'll go ahead and grind it down to where the final result should be after I get it cut and mocked up. I'm going to leave the bumperettes on there. I think they look neat. Oh yeah, I'm liking that. There might be a reason why I like that. Let's check the TJ. Hey, twins, twinning. I just say that. Come on now. JK's got to be a little fancier, but still stubby. I stop making everything stubby. There'll be rumors flying about me. I've decided to go a little different route with it than what I initially planned. I'm putting nutserts in here so that bumper can be removable in case I need to really work on the radiator. It's really nice not having it in the way. So I said it before, if you don't have a nutsert tool, go get one today. They are awesome for trying to install removable pieces. So I'm installing this with 1/2-inch bolts. I will plate the front of this because you can see the frame's actually made in 2 pieces sandwiched together, and where I cut that out, it separates a little bit. So I will weld a plate right here, real thin, probably like a 1/8 inch. That's about the same size as the frame. Plate there. And don't worry about it pushing the bumper out too far. There's enough of a slot there on this bumper to where there's some play in these 1/2-inch bolts I'm going to be using. Voila, 4-threaded bolt holes. Hopefully they all line up. I think the bolts I have may be shouldered, so I may have to take up some slack temporarily. Oh yeah, that's gonna fit. Oh yeah. All right, let me go get some bolts. Ran out of shoulder. I haven't ran out of shoulder. Too much shoulder. I think I'll just go get some smaller bolts. But for the time being, let's just hold her up there. This is stupid. in the best possible way. Too much of a shoulder, so I can't bolt them down, but there you go, it's bolted on. This thing's become a hell of a storm. I'd like to get this thing sprayed off. I'm mostly concerned about burning this thing down, so I do have a fire extinguisher with me. Let's pull her out. I got a makeshift jug there for an overflow tank. I got a good overflow tank coming in the mail tomorrow. It's gonna be nice. Hopefully it doesn't overheat and I don't have to worry about it. Guys, I hate to be a Debbie Downer. We're going to end it off right there. With the storm coming and everything else, I think we've completed a lot. Next video, we'll do some other cool stuff. I should have my aluminum overflow tank coming in the mail tomorrow. So the next video, we'll do that. We'll go ahead and finally, as much as I've talked about, button up some wiring. I've got a switch panel for headlights and for fans. So we'll wire up the fans. And we'll probably give some spray paint love to it in some places where some things have chipped off. And I may tackle the lowering kit in the rear. Once I do all that, I'm ready to take it down the road. Now I'll take it down the road here in front of my house, but this is September. In Alabama, you get license plates by month. Mine month is October. So I'm not gonna go get a license plate now for it and then get another one next month because you have to renew on that month regardless. Before I take it to town, it might be about 4 more weeks. So guys, thanks for watching. Long video. Next one will be probably this long. See y'all later.